Namaste and hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Hamsavahini Vajra Astra. I'm Ahuna. In today's video, I'm going to do a quick wrap up of what I have been reading for June 2021 and what I have been able to complete and what I'm going to continue reading further because obviously I'm just halfway through them. So do please join me further in this video. So for the month of June, my reading theme was the seahorse and the genre focus was environmental literature, and these are the books that I had chosen to read. And although it was not too ambitious, but there was one particular book which I could not touch. I am halfway through many of these books, but I do not plan to DNF these books. I plan to carry them forwards next month, which is what I will be doing in July. I won't be DNFing any of those books because once I DNF it, I have found that I do not touch the books for at least 7 to 8 months, which I do not want. So what I would be doing is, in case if there's a book which I cannot finish from here on, I will be reading it the next month or the forthcoming month and give a book review on it. So the first book which I did pick up for this particular reading theme for June 2021 was Poseidon Steed. I'm not too sure if you can see it. I think you can see it. So it is the story of seahorses from myth to reality, which has been written by Helen Scales, PhD. Now I have posted a book review for this particular book after I read it, and I really enjoyed this book. I would give this book at least 4.5 stars because it's really written wonderfully and I've really enjoyed it, and there's so much information which is packed in this book. I will leave a link to the book review which I have posted for this last week, I believe, in the description box below for you to cross-check. The entire history, the mythology, the biology, the ecology, as well as the biodiversity of seahorses and the conservation program which are associated with them, and the reasons why the conservation programs came into the picture in the first case has been beautifully given, as well as the traditional uses of seahorses in traditional medicine, especially Chinese medicine and Japanese medicine and probably Indian medicine too, where they do form the yang, or they contribute to the yang part of the healing process. So this is something which is very beautifully given. In fact, it is very pragmatically given, and then we have also been given choices as to what we can do. Of course, the healing powers and the curative powers of seahorses are amazing, but then yes, because they are in depleting conditions, so definitely we need to conserve them, and conservation programs and projects are on their way. So in case if you are further interested in knowing more about this book, do please check with the book review, which I have done in a narrative style. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you do leave some comments so that I will be able to know further if it is something which people would like to see or not. So that's the first book which I read. The second book which I had planned to read was Ghosts of the Tsunami, which has been written by Llyod Parry, but unfortunately I could not come around to this book at all. So I will be carrying this book forward in the month of July, and hopefully by the end of July I should be able to give a book review on it. The third book which I have started but I have not reached halfway through is H2O by Phillip, a biography of water. Now this is a scientific writing, and it's really written very well. So as a student of science, I really found this book very interesting. It gives theories of starcraft, wherein stars are born, and how water is formed, and what is the entire procedure or the process in which water combines with various elements, and it's given in such a beautiful form. I wish I could have read this while I was back at school. I definitely would have fallen in love with chemistry. Chemistry is one of the subjects which I never used to get around very well with, but after reading this book I did really find my interest awakened in reading more of chemistry, and this book deals with the biology, the chemistry, and the physics of everything which has to deal with water. So I'm not even halfway through because it's a chunky book, but then I'm really enjoying it, and I have no intentions of DNFing this book. So I will be reading this further on in the month of July, and hopefully I should be able to share a lot with all of you after I complete this book. So that is the third book. The fourth book which I had chosen to read was Mother by Maxim Gorky. This was under the classics section because I had decided to keep one classic as a staple for reading. Now I am not entirely through this book, although this book is very beautifully written. So I'm yet to complete this book. So let me complete this book and give a good book review on this, because I probably would take around say 10 to 15 days more to complete this book. I'm not through this book as yet, so let me complete this and bring a book review, because it really describes and brings the focus of a very important part of Russian history. So let's see where I get from there. So the next book which I did read is The Jamun Tree and Other Stories of the Environment, which has been written by Pamela Chatterjee. Now this is a wonderful book. It gives a very realistic picture of the agricultural face of India post-independence. So after the independence of India, 1947, there was a close disciple of Mahatma Gandhi called Vinoba Bhave, who started a movement called Bhudan movement, which means you gift land. So he used to walk on foot and to the wealthy landlords who had barren lands, which were called Usar lands, and in Uttar Pradesh, of course. And there he persuaded the landlords to gift these barren lands to the poor farmers who were left without any land, and they had to convert them through government aid into high yielding crop producing fields. So the entire journey of poor villagers who were absolutely uneducated to come out from their shadows, and involves the women who were trying to earn their living by making bangles, and instead of making bangles they had to earn a revenue, and then they had to contribute that revenue, and how they made and contributed to their lands, and the entire process of irrigating fields where even the tractors could not plow, because the land had acidic soils, plus there were a lot of rocks and stones, etc. So a lot of things has been given in this, and the fact that these villagers were trained and they were absolutely reluctant. There was of course superstitions which used to play in between as well, and how the activists who were trying to help these people struggled to get their land and motivate the farmers who never believed that they would be able to see crops in their field which were lying barren. The entire journey is beautifully written, and I would highly recommend this book for anyone who really wants to see the agricultural face of India post-independence, 1947. So this is something which really brought in a lot of wisdom, as well as it really gave the plight of the Indian farmers, not only those days, but in today's days as well. There are lots of challenges which the Indian farmers have to face. However, the movements which are present within the country for supporting them, as well as the amount of government aids which are given, and what non-profit and activist groups are doing to ensure that the farmers' families are well educated, their children also take over education, and they contribute with new technologies which are innovative, as well as they are profitable to them, and they do not cost too much. So this is something which is beautifully given, and I really enjoyed reading this book. And although I still have a little bit left, but by the time you watch this video, I think I should have finished this. So I would highly recommend this book to anyone interested in knowing more about the agricultural plight of India and the challenges which India faced post-independence in the agricultural fields, especially the barren lands which had acidic soil and which had no water, as well as they had climatic conditions which were drought stricken. So how the entire forest department was involved in the the plantation, etc. So this is something very which is given very well in this book, and I would give this book at least 4 stars. So that would be the Jamun tree, which I had just read. The last book which I had read was Sunwalt, which is stories of SolarPunk and eco speculation. Now SolarPunk is a movement which takes place within science fiction. As we all know, ecofiction is a branch of science fiction, and within that there is a movement called SolarPunk, which deals with futuristic trends of viewing the ecosystem as well as the ecological conditions, which could result should we not be careful of the sustainable and the renewable energy source utilization from now on. So these stories were very interesting, and they were all futuristic. They all were absolutely dynamic, and I really loved some of the stories. There were poems, there were artwork, and it's something which anybody would enjoy, and it brings us an awareness of what might happen if we are not careful with the energy resources which are depleting at the moment, and the harmful I would say the harmful conditions which could be generated because we are not careful in the now. So what are we leaving tomorrow, and what do we leave for the future? So this is something which was very well given. I really loved the story. Most of the stories are very well written, and the story which I loved the most and which I found fascinating was the story in which Earth has been devastated, and people are now living in hovering aircrafts or spaceships which are hovering in the I would say they're hovering stations, and they use different stratas of the atmosphere, like the stratosphere or the ionosphere, as per the level of proficiency which is present within a group, and they can communicate with each other, and there is a marriage which takes place between 2 levels of such spaceships, not spaceships, I would say hover ships, and it's really very touching. The story is touching as to how much a family could do to preserve the ancient records of an entire civilization once they were in the hover ships. So something which was very touching, and there were other stories which I found fascinating. I would highly recommend this to anyone who is interested in knowing more about ecofiction, which is combined with science fiction, of course, and who is more interested in, I wouldn't call this dystopian, of course, because there's nothing which is as dystopian, but then they are quite speculative. So something which I really enjoyed. So I will give at least 4.5 stars to this book. So these are the books that I had been reading, and the ones which I could not read, and ones which I plan to read in the future. Not in the future, sorry, in this coming month in July. So that's all I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Do please leave your views in the comment section below, and I will get back to you very soon with another video. So till then, take care. Have a good reading week ahead, and namaste.